That's it, man. That's it. The main thing is it's good to see you.
Good to be seen.
It's,
Really good to see you, Brad. I miss you.
I miss you too, man.
It's been, 3-4 years? 19, I think you
yeah.
left the station. And
Been down here for 4 years now. Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know that we've seen each other since.
I don't think so.
I don't think we have.
No. And by the way, I'm Buckskin Bob. Kind of a celebrity out of the UP in northern Wisconsin. They call me Buckskin Bob. I don't have no clue why. All 5.5 deer from Alpha, Michigan, which is above this map,
Yeah.
right on the border.
Yeah. From the reviews I've been seeing this year, there might only be 5.5 deer left.
In the whole UP.
The UP.
We got a few extra wolves, though. Our state representative right now is introducing a bill to trap them and take them downstate. Don't think it's going to happen, but it's one of those issues, And so far, we have a mild winter. On the drive down, it took me 2.5 hours, typically 2 hours, but slush, sleet at first, and then fog, and then now down here it cleared right up.
Yeah. Crazy winter so far. If you want to even call it winter. It
It's
feels
not.
like October.
Yeah.
Is there even snow by you right now?
There's snow, but by Christmas, no snow.
Yeah.
And this is a couple days before Christmas.
Oh, we let the cat out of the bag. It won't be released for a while.
Yeah. But the airing is a couple days, or not the airing, but the taping is a couple days before Christmas. My advice is stay off the ice. Remember, I give those
All the time,
Brad,
the time.
Brad and I. Tell everybody how you and I met.
Yeah, we worked together.
I was a chamber director,
Yeah.
Iron County, Michigan, which is right above that map, right on the border.
Yeah.
All 4 UP counties are on Central Time, which I coined cheese time.
Yeah.
You worked in radio, got hired, and I was friends with your boss. And it's your fault that I got in radio because you said, Bob, you got a good gig. You come in here, you can sell it. Because if I'm a natural born salesperson.
You were iffy on it, man. You remember it?
It took me.
You were iffy on it. It took a while to come
took
along. It ended up being a good fit for you, though.
Salesperson, and then I became general manager and
Yeah.
award winning. I won the Performer of the Year. I'm on air 15 minutes a week.
For Buckskin Bob's weekend report.
Buckskin Bob's Weekend and Outdoor Report. And everybody know. I'm the Guy Fieri of the Northwoods. These sunglasses go everywhere.
Do you still take pictures with
Of
them?
all my food.
Yeah.
And any gimmick I do. I'm a gimmick person.
I know, man.
You and I are totally different, And I would like to come in as a professional wrestler.
It always worked really well, man. It always worked really well because we are different. Even with the studio, there's not much gimmicks or frills,
No.
right? And you're very good at that. Do you is the Blues Fest still going strong?
I'm a gimmick guy.
You got the shirt on?
I got the last T-shirt, 2019,
Okay.
end of summer Blues Fest. No, COVID killed it 19.
Okay.
Or not 19. That 19 was last year, which was great. We had 8 years running. And then 2020 was COVID. 2021, Wisconsin was open. Michigan was not open. The governor said, you can have 500 people. Well, I had 1,000 to 1,500 people in a little village.
Yeah.
And then, so 500 people, I said, it's not worth it. And then I said, do I put it on or not? And then she said, you can only have 250 people by the time. So I'm glad I didn't go through with it. And then the next year, I got cancer.
Yeah.
Somebody that talks, sings, and dances, I'm not very good at it, but I entertain, got tongue cancer.
Yeah.
And we were talking, and I always need something to drink. The radiation, I went all the way to Chicago, Cancer Treatment Centers of America, lived there for 2 full months.
Yeah, you were there for a long time.
Lots of chemo, tons of radiation. It burnt my neck. I got scar. That bump is scar tissue. I've got scar tissue in the inside. They just dilated my throat a couple of weeks ago so I can swallow pills, and I'm almost 2 years out. By the time you see this, I'm 2 years out. Cancer-free, but I can't drink regular water. Water, thin liquids like coffee, unless I thicken it, goes through the epiglottis, the flapper, and goes into my lungs, and I aspirate.
How do you thicken coffee? What would you?
They make it thickener. If you're lucky enough to live to go
Dump
to
some
see.
grounds in there?
No. They actually make thickener for liquids for old folks' homes. So if you're lucky, in about 45 years, you're going to see it.
Okay.
But I have to drink. Carbonated goes down well.
Okay.
milk or milk products like almond milk. I drink that because milk produces mucus. I produce no saliva or very little saliva.
Okay.
Milk is bad for me, but milk will go down.
Yeah.
Cottage cheese goes down. Applesauce goes down. Something that goes down really well is, and I coined this one too, my Wisconsin water, made in Milwaukee with my Blues Fist. That's how cheesy I am. But you remember that's WIKB on the bottom there too, you know, where Brad and I worked on telephone time. And so the Wisconsin water is my drink of choice.
Which you can still have. I've been wondering about that, man. We haven't got to talk very much since it happened, but that's that's your thing, man. Going out for drinks and dinner is your thing. And that had to put a binder on that for a while.
It did. But Henry watches, you know, I'm Bob Black on Facebook. It's just easy to find. And no, I've not done any super social media, but I'm on some YouTubes. I've done 3 or 4 TV commercials. Have you seen any of those? I've shared them on Facebook. Biker Bob, hey, this is Biker Bob. Look twice, save a life. Motorcycles everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
And then this year was don't mow the grass into the yard. Don't be a Jimmy, you know, and please don't litter because I got turned in for littering because I threw a sign. But you just look up WIKB on Facebook.
You got
turned
in
for
trouble
littering.
for littering?
Well,
Did you get a fine?
No. It's a $10 sign. It was on private property. I'm not going to get. But they called and complained.
Okay.
Because of Biker Bob, because I dressed in my full biker gear and full dresser bike and had the do not, you know, look twice, save a life, motorcycles everywhere. Then I threw it behind me and I left down the road and it says, listen to Buckskin Bob's Weekend Outdoor Report, 9:15 at WIKB.com.
Yeah.
But I threw the sign behind me on the radio station's property.
Yeah.
Some people, like a dozen people probably called in and said, yeah, you know, you're making bikers look bad. They shouldn't litter.
Yeah.
So they blocked that part out. So this year's ad was don't blow grass into the street. It might be illegal. It's ugly, clogged sewers, and it's like black ice for bikers. And then I said, look twice, save a life, motorcycles everywhere with the sign. I said, and please don't litter. And I handed the sign off. And then I drove away on a tractor, mowing grass into the grass, full biker gear. And I waved at the guy that's sweeping the grass off the sidewalk.
Nice.
It's a cheesy commercial, but it's great. We did one for telephone time, too, that I directed.
Nice.
Yeah. So Dr. Larry's in it, and he said to say hi.
Yeah, I haven't chatted with him in a while.
Yeah,
either.
he said to say hi. I didn't tell many people I'm coming down, just in case it didn't happen or something.
Yeah.
And we're old buddies. I was a chamber director, and every Friday came in at 9:15. You and I talked. BS'd. Mm-hmm. I'm Buckskin Bob, but BS Bob is even better. I usually sign it BS
It's more
Bob.
fitting.
It is. There's no doubt about it.
It's more fitting.
And we had fun together. We'd go out and have a few beers, and we did a couple events together and things like that. And of course, you were people wanted to see what you looked like because you're the
Nice
telephone.
to put a face with the name.
Yeah, you got that for a
Fight a
couple of
nickel.
years.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what I look like. You know? I mean, I got a wanted poster out. Wanted poster. Buckskin Bob for drinking Missouri water in Wisconsin.
That's probably a 35-year-old Bob right there.
No, it's this year.
That's this year?
This is this year.
Wow.
I'm not sure if they could see that or not. But go ahead and read what you could actually find me on the weekend. If you find me during 9:15, Friday to 9:15 on
Fabulous
Monday.
prizes worth hundreds of dollars.
I carry prizes with me, and they say, hey, Buckskin Bob, what you got for me? And I say, well, what's the password, man? And some weekends, it's like for an event or something.
Yeah, yeah.
So I tie it to something.
And you'll have tickets on you?
I'll have tickets, coupons, drink chips.
Yeah.
Sometimes a couple $100 worth of tickets to Mall of America or Wisconsin Dells. There you
Free
go.
double cheeseburgers.
Exactly. And all my restaurants give me coupons because I talk about my sponsors. I promote.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But this is somebody made that for me. The new kid at work made that for me. So that's pretty cute.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. So how'd you find out about the cancer? Like when it happened?
I had a bump on my side of my neck. Went to my doctor, and because I'm old and fat. I said, I got a little bump. He said, it's probably just your lymph node. You got a cold? I said, no, I'm singing, dancing. I mean, the buckskin, this thing was tight on me.
Yeah.
It's a little loose.
You used to
now.
call yourself fat and sassy, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah, I did call myself fat and sassy. I was never shy. And And he said, a couple of weeks, I'll give you antibiotics. So 2 weeks went by. Christmas of 21 it was, ish. Gave me antibiotics. Didn't go away. The swelling didn't go down. A couple of months later, he gave it an ultrasound, and they said, "Oh, it's just a cyst. If it stays in 6 to 8 months, we're going to take it out. 6 months down the line, we're going to send you the Wausau to have it removed because you don't want to go to a hospital in the UP to work on your carotid artery area. Hey, I got a pocket knife, right? You love it. But if you have a heart attack north of Amossaw, it's pronounced Amossaw, by the way, where I go wolf and moose hunting, with a camera, of course. So they said, "No, we're going to send you to Wausau to get this cyst removed." I get down there, and I've already seen the surgeon. I'm laying on the gurney, butt ass naked. Nurse was getting me socks because it's cold. He comes, feels it, and he says, "I said it's been getting bigger." He goes, "What?" He looks at the paperwork, he looks at me. And I'm looking up. And
this is on the operating table, and they're going to take it out?
The gurney going into the operating room. He checks me before they knock me out.
Okay.
So they're going to push me into the surgical room, and she's ready for the IV. The nurse is there, got me a blanket, my socks. And the surgeon checks me before he's going to go scrub up, and they're going to knock me out. And he goes, it's the wife of almost 25 years. Do you believe that?
Yeah.
Christine, known as Tina. She goes, "Tell the doctor it's gotten bigger." And he's looking. He said, "Yeah, it has gotten bigger." Because he only seen me like a week or two before. He said, "We'll just remove it, see what it is." He says, "I'm not comfortable." I look at him. I'm not comfortable either.
And was this the same doctor or a different doctor?
This is a surgeon.
This is the surgeon.
Surgeon down in Wausau. He didn't feel comfortable to doing the surgery. So I go back to Iron River the next day and do a full-blown CAT scan. "Oh, you got larynx cancer." So hang on. My wife says, "Yep, we're out of here. We're out of these Band-Aid hospitals in the UP." We had a friend go to the Cancer Treatment Centers of America, now called City of Hope, out of Zion, Illinois. It's not really Chicago. It's closer to Kenosha, which I love. Pleasant Prairie, Kenosha. Know every bar and gyro spot in northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin. And so she went to the doctor and made him sign. He goes, "Well, we're not sure what it is. It's been 10 months. Sign the paperwork." She made him sign the paperwork.
For like a transfer?
For a referral.
Yeah.
You get down there. I'm there for one whole week. I got to see 3 oncologists, 2 surgeons, ear, nose, and throat surgeon, a rabbi, a minister, and a priest, really, sex therapist, a naturalist that picks mushrooms and stuff. Of course, I taught them a few things, too. We need to talk mushrooms before the end of the day.
Yeah.
And all the herbs and all that good stuff. And they took a biopsy of that cyst or lymph node or whatever, and they did a CAT scan and a PET scan. And it turned out that I had tongue cancer. It wasn't a larynx cancer. It wasn't a dumb bump like they first thought. So my doctors up there misdiagnosed me twice.
So it was your lymph node that was swollen, but it was because of the tongue cancer.
The ear, nose, and throat surgeon scoped me, went up my nose, and you could see it on TV. And I got to watch it. She goes, "Oh, your tongue is really big." And she goes, "Oh, you're a smoker?" I said, "No. My parents were bad smokers. My dad died 43 because, basically smoking. Mom's heart attack, 43 smoking. I'm smoking, but no cigarettes. I'm smoking hot."
You're so cheesy.
They know my personality there. "Oh, you're the radio star guy. I sing and dance, fat and sassy and all that." I used to say fat and sassy. And the ear, nose, and throat surgeon from scoping me, she goes, "Nope, you don't have it from smoking." She goes, "You have HPV, human papillomavirus," which all the young kids, you're too old for that, I think. I don't think you got vaccinated for it. But anybody probably 30 and under got vaccinated for it. And they see all the commercials on TV.
I've seen the commercials, yeah.
It's kind of like shingles. We all have it in us. Is it going to come out or not?
Okay.
And now they're vaccinated. All the kids, 25, 30 and under are vaccinated. And when they took the biopsy of my lymph node, yep, it's HPV. You got tongue cancer, da-da-da-da-da. So a ear, nose, and throat surgeon not doing surgery diagnosed it. And she said, "You're going to get so many radiations, so many chemos, this kind of extra chemo, I had 12 chemos, 296 hours of chemo in a PICC line going through my heart, and 35 radiations in a row where skin was melting off my neck.
Dang.
Yeah.
So that surgeon not taking it out probably saved your life.
Saved my life, saved my tongue.
Yeah.
Because it's very hard to do a tongue surgery.
Okay. Yeah, and that's the logical next step, right? Like what's happened since then? How long did those treatments take? And then I've been kind of watching on social media, but that's from afar, man.
Yeah.
You know?
And I post on every day almost. So you really got to watch me almost every day because I'm eating somewhere with my famous glasses. You see my
I remember
license plate? My front license plate is a pair of sunglasses.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I remember the first couple of times I noticed you post food again, and I was like, okay, Bob's might be getting back to it.
I still have a hard time. The whole treatment is 2 months in the hospital, never left.
Okay, so you're there 2 months.
2 months,
straight.
8 weeks total.
Okay.
Because I was through Christmas and New Year's, and they don't do surgery or chemo radiation on those days, so
Yeah.
I was stuck there because I had a PICC line one of the weekends, and the next, you can go home for a 3-day weekend. I was not feeling up to it.
Yeah.
They said, your radiation won't catch up to you for about 3 to 5 weeks. And chemo, you might get sick to the stomach, but here's pills for you. Excuse me. First or second radiation. By the way, they put you in a mask. Have you seen the picture of my mask on Facebook?
Yeah.
Bolt you down to a table. They make a mask for you, just you. Bolt you down to a table, put you in a tube for about 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes. Excuse me. Beer makes you...
Did they have to put extra mobility in yours from talking so much?
You bite on a mouthpiece.
Okay. That had to be pure hell for you.
Only you know that, Brad. But when Bob Black talks, people listen. You have hunting commercials from the 70s. But you're in this tube for 25, 30 minutes doing radiation.
Yeah.
And the first couple, it reacted with my fillings from the 70s.
Okay.
I've got the shitty fillings like the mercury and all the bad stuff they put in your fillings. My tongue turned purple and this and that. So I couldn't eat for the first couple of weeks. Then that went away. By then, about the 5th or 6th week, I'm sick now from all the chemo and the extra radiation. Yeah. So I stopped eating. I lost a total of about 85, 90 pounds. And muscle. Even though I was a fat guy, how many Brads could I pick up?
Yeah.
I mean, I could pick up 2 people at a time easy. Not, being a MMA person and a firefighter instructor. I mean, I taught people how to carry people and how to slam them. I had my own martial arts gym, so
you could take them out and save them.
Yeah. So, but after I got home, pretty much stuck at home for the first couple of months, and didn't want to be around everybody because I was compromised. Being sick, and I was like white as a ghost.
Well, and you're probably working through it. Like, what is life now at that time? You know,
I had to relearn to eat about 4 months later. I had a feeding tube. I have an extra belly button. Had a tube. I had to put liquid diet in there.
Okay.
So I was taking about 3,500 calories in a day, plus whatever I could chew and get down and swallow. And I still lost 85 pounds. The feeding tube saved my life.
Yeah.
If I didn't have it, I'd been gone. And somebody your size couldn't lose 85 pounds.
Yeah. So could you put the fish fry in the blender and dump it in the funnel on the top?
You could, but it didn't work. Somebody says you can put a shot of whiskey in it, and went, because you just don't feel like it.
Yeah. What a trip, man.
And didn't have a beer probably for a good 6 months. And I had to relearn how to eat. My mouth, because there's so much, and I still have to do exercise. I'm still, no more chemo, no more radiation, but I'm still in treatment as in exercising, jaw stretches, massages. I wear a mask at night, a compression fitting to keep it from my lymphedema from going like this. I had a big fat neck like here, and now my neck's kind of skinny but scarred. Mm-hmm. And then all the exercises, and my Ashley Heidemann, she was my speech therapist down there, and she was one that saved me through everything. You say, well, why do you need a speech therapist? But she helped me relearn how to eat. My teeth, when they measured me, they measured all your head instruments and stuff. My mouth opening was 55 millimeters. It got down to 20, like this.
Really?
They had a hard time putting my feeding tube in. They had to stretch it and it hurt me. and knock me out and put my feeding tube in. It was not fun. And right now I'm basically, I went from a 55 to a 22 millimeter. I'm back in the upper 40s now, so I've worked it back. But I still have to do exercises, wear a mask around. You wake up in the middle of the night, and you got this thing choking you. It's not fun. I do a thing that massages your lymph nodes. It's a head and vest, and it massages my lymph nodes so the water doesn't stay here and doesn't, make sure everything drains correctly. So it's constant treatment. I could do treatment. I've had dry needling done. I've had extra massages done. But I could do 8 hours a day of treatment.
Yeah.
Some days you're going to have to, it's time to live.
Yeah. So now you're cancer-free, though?
Oh, I've been cancer-free. The PET scan, the second PET scan, post-cancer, they had to wait like 3 months because you have so much radiation in you and so many other things. I turn the lights off, I glow. And
like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Correct. Turn the lights off, I would glow. I'm not kidding. I mean, it was bad. And speaking of glowing, this is a rock. This is a Upper light.
That's the Upper light?
That's a Upper light. That's another present for you.
So you knew about this. And
oh, I know.
So that's the thing. These glow when you put the right kind of light on them. This is a Upper light?
The only ultraviolet light I got is one from like 1979, and I've had it in my bedroom for years. So
okay.
You have a special flashlight, and they glow.
Okay, so that's
a true Upper light.
Ed the Diver would be happy to know about this. He was talking about these.
I picked that myself.
Did you?
Yeah.
Are there there a bunch of them?
There's a bunch of them, but I got them at Smarty's Bar in Nagani.
Oh, you picked it out.
For $1 or $2. Nice. And next door is Tino's Pizza. And Lori Hayes from the Flat Broke Blues Band, who's played in like half of my blues fest, she's got a business right there in Nagani too. So.
Oh, nice.
Another shout out. And of course, make a shout out to Sons of Legend. And the Sons of Legend, which I sing, I'm a member of the band. I think you were there when they made it.
Yeah, you were already the honorary.
I was already I was the first member of the Sons of Legend. And,
wasn't there? There's one song you would do, right? I'm trying
Messing
to remember.
with the Kid.
Messing with the Kid. Yeah.
A two. You know what to do. Paul Sundquist made a song for me, and we played every 9:15 every Friday morning on the radio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Before
my show.
Before your show?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. So you're still Buckskin Bob's Weekend Report still.
Buckskin Bob's Weekend Outdoor Report every Friday at 9:15 Central Time, cheese time.
Set your clock to it.
Yep, you got it. And Paul Sundquist makes a song. It's Messing with the Kid, but it's following Buckskin Bob.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was gonna say if I had my cell phone on me, I'd play for you, but I put it over there. And the phone rings when I get here. But become infamous in a way too, and then people know that I've had the cancer.
Yeah.
And then they see me and they go, I've been almost out 2 years. By the time this airs, I'm out 2 years. And I've gained about 10 pounds back. Got a little flush. No beard. I always had a goatee.
Yeah.
The radiation killed this.
Okay.
Lost my hair twice. I lost my hair from here down. And then this summer, my thyroid went bad because of all the radiation. Mm-hmm. And for about 6 months, up and down with different drugs and things, and they finally got it worked out. And in September, just a couple months ago, I lost most of my hair. And now it's came back. I don't have as many grays as I had.
Yeah.
And it's thick.
It's thick, yeah.
And I don't have the curls. Because last year I had curly gray hair. I mean, curls, know, beauticians and stuff. Well, I'd pay for that hair, and still it's thicker, but I lost it in September.
That was always part of your shtick, man, was your hair. It was always just on point.
It was. I mean, I had a haircut every 4 weeks, no matter what. And now I went through 3 hair changes in 2 years because of the cancer treatment or conditions because of the cancer.
Yeah. Well.
But I'm here, and I know somebody says, hey, nice to see you. Nice to be seen.
Yeah, man.
And all the other cancer survivors out there, too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that probably rings a little bit differently after that experience. Just you truly mean that when you say "nice to be seen and here with you."
And the thing is, I'm the face. I was the face of Telephone Time. You hid behind the mic. You were the voice of Telephone Time.
Yeah,
I was the face. I went out and you got me a job there, or they wanted me for a long time.
I talked you into it.
You talked me into it. Twisted my arm. And our old boss, he never wanted me to be in the studio other than doing my show. Mm-hmm. He wanted me out in the public doing things. Because everywhere I went as a chamber director, there was a WIKB sign behind me because I know how to promote. Mm-hmm. So I have that shtick, and it stick pays sales. If I like it, I can sell it. I've been offered a job to travel downstate Michigan, northern Wisconsin, and UP to sell parts for a factory. No. Yeah, I'd be, a couple $100,000 richer, but I like my way of life. I like to hunt. I like to fish. We have tons of wolves. Trail cameras I bear guide. That was my big thing too. Remember, I loved to bear hunt.
Yeah.
And I got out in the woods last year with the trail camera. I'm out at 4 a.m. because I just can't sleep because my sleep. I'm asleep in the easy chair at 8, up at 2 or 3. I put my slip a gun in my pocket and put my not Crocs, but they're my Shimano's. They're like a deck shoe, but they're like Crocs. Remember, people used to make fun of me wearing shorts in the winter and my Crocs. I said, they're not Crocs, they're Shimano's. They're deck shoes. They're boating shoes. But I'd be up at 4 a.m. feeding bears.
Yeah.
So. And not only
this year, did you guide anybody this year?
I helped somebody this year, but they didn't want to really get into it too much. They're too busy at work. So they weren't successful. Last year, I helped them when the guy was out of town, stuff like that. So I did more of a guiding last year. But if I'm the 100% guide, you're going to be able to see a bear.
Yeah.
I mean, guaranteed you're going to see bears.
Yeah. Your method worked pretty well.
Oh, I've got it down pat.
Oh, yeah. I remember talking about that a lot.
Oh, with Michigan Outdoors.
Yeah, man.
You and Randy.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
That was.
That was a radio show back on 8 to 9 Saturday mornings on WIKB 99.1, WIKB.com. But make sure you listen to Buckskin Bob's Weekend Outdoor Report. You're gonna have so many cheesy innuendos.
I'll just send them to you so you can use them.
Well, I'll tape the whole show with them.
Well, I'm glad, man. I've been wanting to have that conversation for a while. We just haven't seen each other, but I'm glad you're light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, and I'm glad for you. I assisted you with getting married. I was your
yeah, you did. Yeah.
I was your ordering minister.
Yeah.
Popped in there pretty quick, and the suits actually matched too with all the other guys too. It looked like one of the guys, and then a year or so later, you had a baby, and you were always wanting that. You were always. I'm glad for you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good, man. It's good.
Family's good. There's no doubt about it. So
yeah,
my family's expanded.
Yeah, tell me about that. You've got a
year ago we lost our son Clifford. He passed away in an accident on the way to another hospital because the local hospital couldn't help him. So instead of taking an ambulance there, he was driving to another hospital in the next county, and he rolled his car and got killed. And he was a single father of a 10-year-old or 9-year-old at the time. He's 10-year-old now, autistic son, and he's in the middle spectrum. He's not. Autistic is so different. But he also has an eating disorder on top of it.
Okay.
So he's got to eat oatmeals and puddings and call him Pudding Kid.
Call him Pudding Kid?
Yeah. Today I took spaghetti. He wanted spaghetti meatballs before I left. And I said, you want them hot or cold? I want them cold. Put them in a bullet, and he ate the whole can.
What?
Cold spaghetti meatballs. But he loves them. In certain things like he goes out with me and he can't eat nothing, unless I have to put him in a bullet. Yeah. No, they're good. And
put it in the bullet.
Put it in the bullet, yeah.
Okay, is it like a texture thing? Something like that?
Yes,
yeah.
and he's got some kind of, my wife would know the true diagnosis of it. There's only like 20 people in the whole country that's got it.
Really?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So we have a 10-year-old, plus he's special needs. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, that's a life changer.
That's a life changer.
Yeah. Probably life changer in a lot of different ways, right? That after going through what you just did and kind of coming out the back end, there's probably a lot of perspectives changed about that too, where, there's positives.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I'm good with kids.
Yeah.
I mean, what don't I do? If you list, you don't have long enough time to all the jobs I've had.
Yeah.
School bus driver, that's one of them.
I thought about talking about that today, but I didn't even jobs. About your career path. Yeah, because it seems to be a topic that we've got into, but I don't know. Your career path is so winding.
Well, I've been at the radio station for 9 years.
And that's probably one of your longer tenures somewhere, right? Like,
other than my own ventures.
Right, your entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I mean, I was always a business person of one sort or the other, and things like that. But I was a school bus driver, still have that, all my credentials. And kids, now the kids that I took to school come up with their kids. Hey, bus driver Bob. Hey, look at little junior, and I hug everybody. I still have a bus driver's license. I keep my realtor license going. I let my mixed martial art judge license go. And I almost became a judge in Wisconsin. There's not many fights in the UP. I mean, there might be fights, but not legal fights. And my last fight...
And ones that don't need a judge.
Yeah. You need 911.
Just the juror.
Just the 911. Just the juror, yeah. But I didn't really like judging as much as announcing because I can pitch my voice now, but I don't have the voice I used to have. Fighting out of the red corner, I love announcing because I could drink beers, flirt with ring card girls. Miss Katie, Miss Wisconsin, how you doing, hon? I haven't talked to you for a couple of years. And dance and sing in the ring, in between the fights, and have fun. And then they legalize it in both Michigan and Wisconsin. And now you have to have blood tests, which is all a good thing.
And being a judge is a lot more serious.
I'm there with my wife, can't talk to anybody, can't talk to the fighters, can't interview the fighters, can't talk to anybody because it's a licensed event. You got to be on the straight and narrow. And Wisconsin said I didn't have enough fights underneath my belt to get a license here in Wisconsin, but I could go to a school for $1,000.
Oh, so it's a money grab?
Yeah, I could probably go to Detroit and get a couple more fights under my belt, and that's going to cost me a couple $1,000 to. Yeah. I did it for a night in a hotel, free beers. Mm-hmm. Your pictures.
Probably going to go to the fights anyway, so you might as well be a part of it.
And I'm in the front row. Yeah. And my last fight, and I used to own 2 gun shops in Alpha, Michigan. I owned one in Alpha, Michigan, was a gun shop martial arts gym. And the other one, I moved from Alpha, which is population about 200.
It's hilarious in itself, the gun shop martial arts gym.
But just hang on, right? Then I moved to big town of Crystal Falls, Michigan, the capital of Iron County. And I had got rid of the martial arts, but I had a gun, gift, ice cream shop, and I could marry people. And for 1 year, I had Chicago, Vienna hot dogs and Italian beefs. Sell your real estate, marry you, right on US 2. And I had a 10-foot grizzly bear in the front yard holding a gun. You can't make that shit up.
You can't make it up if you try.
You ever cried yet on your podcast? You're coming close to it now.
I've probably been brought to tears. I haven't laughed so hard.
You're almost crying now. And I'm doing it with a straight face.
It's hilarious. I know. It's great.
But I stopped selling Chicago Vienna, the true Viennas. I actually got trained down here at De Pere, some Chicago place that had Viennas. I met the contractor from Chicago, and I'm in the UP, met me here in De Pere, and he taught me how to dress a true Chicago dog. So I'm officially trained. I mean, my credentials, I mean, a federal licensed gun dealer getting trained to serve a hot dog.
A genuine Chicago
Vienna
dog.
Exactly. I'm a critic. I have the hats. Oh, darn it, I have those in the car, too. They keep them around.
Yeah.
Give them as gifts and stuff like that. I know what a Chicago hot dog is. Yeah, okay. You tell me, and I'll give you a hat if you win, things like that.
But that list of stuff, man, where your interests have lied, and you didn't even delve into the jaunt into the running for political office either.
Well, I was a politician for years.
Yeah.
I ran for office in '96 as a libertarian in the UP. They couldn't even spell it right. They put librarian on some of the paperwork. And what the heck's a libertarian, Excuse me. And then and the whole UP was all pretty much conservative blue dog Democrats in the 90s. So, and I ran again in 98, and I won Libertarian of the Year down in Detroit, living in the UP because I just promoted freedom. And then I said, okay, I like the political thing, and I helped get the gun law changed, from a may issue to a shall issue, became a licensed gun dealer, and I taught close to 4,500 people in concealed weapons training. Plus, I can take you in the ring and show you martial arts too, things like that, because I might run out of bullets. I'd come into that's another story, and then I ran as a pro-gun Democrat in 2000, and or I'd have to be a pot-smoking Republican. And we had 0 Republicans in the UP by then. You go into Wisconsin, they were all Republican.
Just
But
either way, trying to walk the fence.
it
right?
was
Like,
it was a walk
yeah.
the fence. And I never really walked the fence, but I had 2 choices.
Yeah.
You know, pot-smoking Republican or a gun-toting Democrat. So I picked gun-toting Democrat and lost the election. My last name is Black. I lost to a guy named Brown. He didn't win by a lot, but I was up and coming. Then I became county commissioner and got experience, made millions of dollars for the county, saved them millions of dollars, got my teeth wet with that. And then I ran again in 2010, and another gun-toting Democrat beat me. He actually got endorsed by the NRA running for state senate. So, I mean, it's pretty, but, you know, the UP is a different way of life. Mm-hmm. Totally, I mean, for politically wise.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's changed. Now it's pretty much all red other than Marquette County. It's changed because of the Trump era and, you know, the past and stuff like that.
UP's an island, man. It's an
It
island that it's a unique spot. If you haven't been there, you just gotta go to know. It's a unique spot.
I've been there 31 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Was it? I don't know that. Were there any stops between Rockford, Illinois, and the UP?
Never. I was born and raised a fib. And if anybody doesn't know what a fib is, it's a Illinois bastard.
I mean, it's rooted Wisconsin. They should know.
Well, yeah. Oh, don't forget, tell your folks I said hi.
I will. I will.
And I love your folks anyway. I mean, your dad's retired, so I'm not sure if he can listen to me anymore or not, because he used to listen to you on the radio once in a while.
Yeah, they used to listen sometimes. Now they're on the retirement schedule, man. I don't
Good
know
for
what
them.
they do. Yeah.
Good for them. But, I born and raised Rockford, Illinois, by a hillbilly and a farmer. So on the weekends, we go to Grandpa's farm down in Dixon, Illinois. And then for summer vacation, we went to Bloomington, Indiana, and farmed for a week. That wasn't vacation.
For summer vacation.
That was not good. That wasn't good at all. But I learned how to farm. I squeezed the teats, and I could shovel shit and drive the tractors. Farming's not a way for me. But I like it as a hobby. You know, I grow shiitake mushrooms.
You still grow mushrooms?
I still grow mushrooms.
Okay.
Yep. Still pick wild mushrooms. I actually did an hour-long program on the radio this year with about picking wild mushrooms.
Okay.
It was the brewmaster from the Alpha Brewing Company, Lydia Novisky. She's been picking them for about 10 years, and I've been picking them for over 20. So we did a radio show. Talking Shrooms with Buckskin Bob and Lydia. She's a brewmaster, really good brewmaster. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I know you're not much of a home brew kind of person, but the Alpha Michigan Brewing Company, another good sponsor of mine.
Yeah.
And we got to say a good shout out to a friend, Brett Favre himself, Sam Koski. He's he follows you guys too. You know? So he's always been a fan of us.
Yeah.
You know,
We've been listening for a while.
Yeah. He's known up there as Brett Favre. He'll buy a drink for me at a bar in the middle of nowhere, some Wisconsin dive bar.
So the next time you go in, it's like they're waiting for you.
There's a beer chip for Buckskin Bob, and it's signed Brett Favre. I said, look, Brett Favre, you can't make this stuff up.
Yeah.
You know.
Just because he knows you're going to be there. You think there's a bar within, like, say, 100 miles of Crystal Falls that you haven't been in?
No, because this covers 100 miles. You find me, it's got to be within the radio listening distance. No.
I bet.
No.
I bet that's probably close to not an exaggeration. I bet
It's not an exaggeration. No. Yeah. So mote it be. I testify to that, you know.
Yeah.
200 miles, oh, definitely. I'm still hitting on those.
Yeah.
But with my work schedule, and the thing is, I've made so many friends over the years. I can't get back to them all. And I'm so busy. Life's got busy because of my grandson now that we have, the 10-year-old. And then mom she just turned 92 Monday, and she's still driving, except we did not renew her plates. So we're going to sell her minivan.
Oh, so she's got a license, but you're going to sell her. Is she on board with that?
She offered it. So
okay.
Yeah, she's slowing up.
Yeah.
And because
92,
92, all the way from the Deutschland. Have you ever met her?
No, we never met. You told me so many stories about that.
But she
woman,
called and saying happy birthday to me in German.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I do.
She called telephone time, and it was my birthday, which is February 23rd, if anybody wants to know.
Here's my address.
Yeah.
Send some stuff.
Just put to Bob Black, Iron County. It's going to get to me. I mean, I'm not kidding you. I get stuff, with no address. Those, just Crystal Falls. But she called up you and sang happy birthday with either in German or a really thick, off the boat German accent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's been there since the 50s and she hasn't lost it. And for many years, I'd take her back and forth to Florida. She's a snowbird, or was. And I would drive her down to Florida, and I'd stop in Rockford, see my mom, had my favorite pizza, spent the night, played cards and drank and smoked all night. My mom smoked, I drank, and played Yahtzee or cards until 3 in the morning, get up, go all the way to Alabama, see my oldest son, Dustin. And then we get to Florida a couple of days later, make a small trip out of it. And I'd be in Florida, open her house up down there. And I would hunt and fish. I've shot hogs, wrestled alligator. You've seen my alligator.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen pictures of me with it live and dead, I've done it, And I did that. And then I would fly back home and stop at whatever Army base my youngest son, Tyler, was at. So I would stop and see him and his family, which Tyler and Whitney's got 3. I have 3 black grandsons. Tyler Black and Whitney Black, of course, and then we have Harley, Raylan, and Weston. So, and they're brutes like your grandpa.
Yeah.
Right off the old block. I mean, big head. They were going to measure their heads and stuff. And my daughter says, no, don't worry, Grandpa's got a big head. So, and big feet. They all got big heads and big feet. Hereditary. You can just see it.
Yeah.
And then I'd fly back to home, which is probably Appleton or Green Bay. And then in the spring, I'd fly back down, see my kid in the Army, wherever he was at, fly back to Tampa, and then close up shop there and see my other son in Alabama, stop and see my mom and grandma in Rockford or Dixon, Illinois. So I made a trip out of it. I did that for like 20 years.
Yeah.
But that's before I worked at the radio station. Took the job at the radio station November 1st, 14. My mother-in-law had a fall, and she fell out of her trailer backwards and busted open her head. So that was her last year in Florida. Mm-hmm. But for 20 years prior to that, I'd take her back and forth. So,
yeah.
But I mean, I had crab traps, wrestled alligators. I mean, I wish I would have done more stuff in Florida.
Yeah.
I could be a tourist guide.
Yeah, because you were there a lot.
I actually lived there a little. I mean, like 3 weeks, 4 weeks at a time sometimes.
Yeah.
And the bars all knew me down there too.
Go figure.
and eat? Oh, the food. Yeah.
So are you back to that now? Like, I know you're talking about different stuff you can drink. Like, can you eat all the foods you want to?
No, I cannot eat a donut, thick bread, a biscuit, sausage, biscuits, and gravy. No, but I eat sausage, gravy on everything else. Like toast if it's thin and done okay. I still choke a little bit. Mm-hmm. I had my second steak last week. It wasn't that good.
It wasn't that good.
Hard to chew, it wasn't as tender. But I had one 2 weeks ago. Tina bought one, and she goes, "I'd try it. We're gonna try it." So I cooked on the grill. I haven't cooked on the grill much because I can't eat much off the grill, and it was really good. I mean, I haven't had steak for 18 months.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, talking yummy. And I can cook. I mean, people see me eating out all the time. I know how to cook, but
Yeah.
So there's certain things I have to be careful with. Mm-hmm. And by the time, you and I sit down to eat, and you can have your meal done, I'm only half done. And before I can,
Takes a while.
It's gone. And now it takes me a lot longer, and my jaw will get sore. Because of the cancer treatment.
Yep.
So, but food is a passion of mine.
I know, man.
I mean, I can cook. Plus, I like to go out and I'll eat anything. When people put on that Facebook, here's 60 items. How many won't you eat? I go, Nutella. I'll eat it if I had to.
I don't know if I've ever tried Nutella, actually.
Is there anything you won't eat?
I'm not I don't know, like won't eat. Absolutely not. Probably not much. I try mostly anything. Yeah. Enjoy eating there.
That's a different story,
I'm not
too.
a big fan. Well, actually, I think didn't you get food poisoning from mussels in Florida one time?
Twice.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of mussels. I don't.
They were raw oysters, and I've been sick twice. Been in the hospital because of it too.
Yeah, not a huge fan of that.
I stopped eating those just because maybe I could have a reaction to it. It's like people eating mushrooms. It might be a good mushroom, but if you overdo it, or your body might react to it differently. So anytime you pick wild mushrooms, you just eat a little bit the first time. Give it a couple of days, then you can eat it if you don't get sick. Mm-hmm. I mean, if it's like a morel.
Yeah.
Some people, it's too rich for them.
You're the first person that ever told me you could eat a puffball mushroom. I was,
But they're not worth eating.
yeah. But who'd have thought you could? I never
But
knew
a
that.
puffball, you could actually, Lydia taught me this, cut it up, and you make it like tofu and add it to your sweet and sour soup or your hot and sour soups from Chinese. So you can make it like your tofu.
Okay.
And it absorbs anything.
Just adds like a filler type material?
Yeah, it just adds a filler, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So you still eat you still pick mushrooms? And...
I picked a lot of mushrooms this year. Buttons. Crystal Falls is known for the humongous fungus among us, the largest, maybe the biggest mushroom in the world. I know Matt was on your show too.
Yeah.
I mean, that show was great. But I've known Matt for years too. And thanks, Matt, for the offer to make a statue of me.
Yeah, I think his thing was it's the largest contiguous, right?
Yeah, but people will argue, but it's on the side of a U-Haul truck.
Yeah.
Crystal Falls,
Gotta be
Michigan.
true. They put it on the U-Haul.
It's Crystal Falls, Michigan, and technically it's in Macedon Township, which is Alpha.
Yeah.
You know, but it's Crystal Falls, the next biggest.
Well, they had to
town.
go with the metropolis.
Of course, all 2,000 of us.
Yeah.
The whole county's only got 10,000.
Yeah.
Like the sixth largest county in the UP, and 10,000 people.
Yeah.
But the UP has got 33% of the property, but only 3% of the population. Mm-hmm. So if you don't like hunting, fishing, snowmobiling,
That's why it's quaint.
and winter, and me losing 80 pounds, my other jacket that I have in the car is one of those heated ones. You just hit a button. And,
Oh, you get cold easier now?
yeah, oh yeah. I used to love winter. Remember that?
Yeah.
It never bothered me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it bothers me now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wife's retired next year. I've got a few years left, and we'll become snowbirds.
Yeah.
Go visit the kids where they're at, whatever station he's at, or Alabama. Or,
Find some different mushrooms there, right?
you go with mushrooms. You go from one state to the other, or one country to the other. They change. Mm-hmm. Property.
What are some of your go-tos? What kind of mushrooms do you like?
I like oyster mushrooms best. And them are the ones I used to have the cans of. I used to travel all the way to Loves Park, Illinois, buy them in a can, a 15-ounce can for $1.09. Now you buy a little teeny can of button mushrooms for $1.50. But I can't find them anymore down there.
The canned oyster mushrooms?
Yep, I think COVID killed them.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not shipping them, or they're caught in somewhere else. They shipped them in from Taiwan. Mm-hmm. And they were oysters, and they had shiitakes too in cans, because you can farm shiitakes. I farm shiitakes. Mm-hmm. I'm not as good as Matt, but I don't work on it. I have 4 other things going on, But I've been doing shiitakes for almost 30 years.
Yeah.
But
oh, really? You've been doing it that long?
Yeah, way before I met you.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Just not.
I thought that was a project you picked up when we knew each other. No. I didn't know you had been doing it that long. Mm-mm. Maybe you got like a new shipment or something.
I got a new toy. It's you buy a side angle grinder, and you buy an auger bit for it, and you can drill 100 holes in about 30 minutes. And before, it used to take you 10 hours.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
It cost me $40. World changer. I go to a shiitake training class. I thought I learned something. I left, and I gave him my tools and said, just return them at work for me, So it's a world changer. Yeah, because it was hard work before. Now it's easy work. You got to make work easy, because it's too much work. But no, I've been picking mushrooms for 30 years. Been growing shiitake over 20 for sure, 20, 25 years. In kits on you can buy a kit. Buy them from any mushroom place. And, there's one at Pesh to Go. Matt's got them. Fungi Perfect in Washington. But then I started drilling in the logs and doing the plugs and stuff like that. And then I like picking mushrooms. Lion's mane's another one. That's delicious. There's a lot of chaga up there, but you don't eat chaga. That's good for arthritis. You got a story about, just because of your wedding, that's a mushroom story. Just hang on. What's another one? There's... the humongous fungus among us. There's also, let me think of anything else I eat. There's Head in the Woods. That's a herbal supplement. So, and I go out there and try to learn new ones, like black trumpets, chanterelles, stuff like that. But you have to hunt for them. It's not picking. You're not going, just like you're hunting deer. Mm-hmm. You're not shooting, you're not killing deer. You're hunting.
Yeah.
And so when you go for morels, you're hunting morels. It's always a hunt, because this year I got none. I think Lydia only got 3 or 4, but you got to be in the woods to find them. You can't find them sitting on your cell phone. What's this one?
Yeah.
And you look at stuff too, and on Facebook, you got these mushroom clubs on Facebook, and people are snobs. Well, is this edible? You know what? All mushrooms are edible once.
Yeah.
And I've picked poisonous mushrooms. I think, I bring mushrooms in when you were in the studio?
Oh, yeah. All the time. You would bring them in shoe boxes. Shoe boxes of mushrooms in.
Yeah, shoe boxes. And see, I think that's what made me famous because I think Mitch started, videoing and then I'd come in wearing costumes, and you can see those. That's how I got Performer of the Year, whatever, Personality of the Year, 2019, because I'd come in and wear the Doors of Chicago came to town. You didn't get to see them, did you? You moved that year.
I don't think so, yeah.
Yeah, and I told you to come in or get your free tickets. So Doors, what do you call them, celebrity bands or
sure.
cover bands?
Yeah.
And the guy looked just like Jim Morrison, acted like him. Ray Manzarek. I mean, it's one of the best, soberest concerts I've ever been in my life because they don't serve beer there. But that week I came in as Bobby Morrison, had an afro on and had a Doors T-shirt, and necklaces and gold chains, and I sing "People Are Strange When You're Strangers," and Mitch would always videotape those.
Yeah.
And then he did a conglomerate and sent it into the Michigan Association Broadcasters, and I got Personality of the Year.
It's funny.
Just for all I wear a different costume every week.
And little did they know that you didn't, you used to do costumes before there was even video. You would do the
business after hours.
You come walking in for Buckskin Bob. You would come in with boas around your.
Bobby Flair.
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah. Styling, profiling, kiss stealing, good looking son of a gun.
Yeah.
That was Bobby Flair. Yeah. I got a lot of personalities.
Yeah. So what was the mushroom story? You said there's a mushroom story.
Okay, which I was heavy. But when you got married, I was the heaviest I've ever been. I weighed about 340.
Okay.
All right. I'm down right now about 235, 240-ish. But I was pretty heavy. 340 is heavy for 5'2". I mean, I had, big pork chops. So we call these pork chops, big pork chops. And I was crying a couple times in the studio about the week or two before you got married. Bob, go see a doctor. My knee was giving me shit.
Yeah.
And I used to wear a brace.
Yeah, you were limping around heavy.
I got off of taking chaga. And you come out of the studio, Bob, I can hear you crying, Yeah. I mean, I'm in the room next door, and your studio was in there. You're, doing your telephone time show. Bob, go see a doctor, would you? So I go see Dr. Larry. He says, you just got arthritis really bad, man. And, hot, cold, and cold, And my wife's a nurse, and she said, you got to, cap it off. But I forgot that I stopped taking chaga for about 2 months. So I got back on the chaga, took it easy for 3-4 days, listened to Dr. Larry and the boss, Tina, my wife, and took it easy. Got back, and I could not dance at your wedding because I was in such pain. And I love dancing. Mm-hmm. I mean, dancing sober, singing sober, it doesn't matter. I can do anything. And but your wedding, I couldn't dance one song because I was in that much pain.
And the chaga.
And then I got back on the chaga that next weekend. Boom. Another week or two later, I'm singing. Larry Kettler and Paul Sundquist was playing at the same place where you got married. And I'm up there dancing. My wife didn't want to dance. I danced by myself. I didn't care.
That wasn't the first stage you ever danced by yourself on.
Oh, no.
That was
no. Not shy at all.
There was a, I can't even remember what type of event it was, but it was a sit-down thing. Everyone was sitting down eating dinner. And
I know
all
exactly.
I remember,
me and Stu.
It was at George Young, and you and Stu
I just came off of surgery from my second gallbladder. Yeah. That's right when I became general manager, and I got sick. They shipped me out of Dickinson for 8 days. I just became general manager. I was your boss for a month at the most. Not really. I mean, I didn't treat you like a subordinate, did I?
I can't remember.
No, I wasn't. No, I treated you as, I'm not a good boss. But that's another story. I'm not. But, at the end of the day, I make it happen, though, don't I? Hey, is it black or red? You red, you're losing money. Bob Black's making money. That's what counts. But I had a gallbladder that they left in me from 2010, and that's another reason I was getting sick. Now, you remember I had to go to Green Bay?
It's coming back.
And I was in the hospital for 8 days. Missed my son's wedding down in Alabama.
Okay, yes, I do remember.
And that was in April of 2019. It was a couple months before you quit. And they had to go back in, and by the time I got to Green Bay, I became jaundiced. They had to go inside and flush my liver because of my gallstones, that I didn't have another gallbladder, but I did. The original doctors in the UP ripped it, left the chunk, and it still formed. Why do you think I got fat and was lethargic, And I was never lethargic.
So what, like it turned into grew another gallbladder?
It grew another gallbladder and stones. And for 8 days, you can't make this stuff up. Yeah. And I shouldn't have been doing that. But okay, the next week, I get to Green Bay on Thursday in a snowstorm. The surgeon couldn't get to Green Bay, and he lives down here by you somewhere. He felt bad. I said, well, the Upers can go through the snow. We made it. So, and I turned yellow the next day. He see me on Friday. He goes, oh, man, your liver's going down. So they had to do emergency surgery on me on Saturday, go in there and flush my liver, put a stent in. And
a stent in your liver?
A stent in my little, you have your liver, your pancreas. You have your liver, your pancreas, and your gallbladder area. You have a little tubey thingamajabber. I forget what they call that. They're all connected.
That's probably what it's called.
A tubey thingamajabber. Yeah. I didn't coin that one, but I did today, I guess. But they went and cleared it, flushed it out, put a stent there, so if there's any more stones, it's going to come through. And then Monday, they went in and removed my extra gallbladder. So I've had 2 gallbladder surgeries, laparoscopic. So anybody who wants to get laparoscopic, you might want to just open it up and make sure they scoop the whole thing out. If they do that, they get it all. But then 3 days later, we had business after hours at George Young's.
That's what it was for, a business after hours, a chamber event? Okay.
Chamber event. Erica was hosting it, and I was feeling pretty good, got some cocktails in me, and it was dueling pianos, and they were singing Paradise by the Dashboard Light, and I took over, did not need a mic, and I sang the girls' part. Stu sang Stu, one of the originals from the Alpha Michigan Brewing Company, was singing the guy part. I sang the girls' part, with a deep voice like this, singing the girls' part, and we were dancing and singing. People were wetting themselves. I mean, it was funny as hell, And my doctor said, you shouldn't have been dancing after 3 days of surgery, because I had stitches and I had all the internal work, but I felt good.
Yeah.
And from that day on, I lost 30 pounds that year, got down to 300, and then the cancer took the rest of the 80 pounds off.
Yeah. And you were definitely, you and Stu were the only 2 dancing in that room.
Correct. And we're both happily married, by the way. But we had fun. You could tell we were having fun.
Yeah.
I actually signed autographs that night. They seen pictures. There was pictures of me singing and dancing. Do you remember the Christmas trees? And they had pictures of chamber members doing things. There's a picture of me on one side singing, dancing in a suit. It was down in Illinois. I did a wedding down there, and I was singing some Blues Brothers song. I had my sunglasses on and microphone and 3-piece suit. And on the backside was Jeff Ofstall. So it was like Christmas things on these trees. I still got it in my card.
Nice.
But somebody says, Bob, would you autograph that for me? Really? And this gal comes from a band. She can really sing, but hey, I like to entertain.
Yeah.
That was funny. Yeah, I remember that one pretty well. Not my first time singing and dancing in Young's either.
So, you said you got a couple of years left working yet?
Yeah, well, somebody's got to pay my bar tab.
Yeah.
I used to run I was a realtor, and I shut my businesses down to run for state office, and I lost by that much, And I mean, Iron County came out 85% margin there, but Houghton County's, and it's the largest area east of the Mississippi, the UP. For congressional seats, for House seats, state seats, we have less population.
Oh, you mean largest geographical area? Yeah. That makes sense.
East of the Mississippi. Mm-hmm. You go, Montana, you got one congressperson. Montana's a different story. I mean, that's really desolate. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know where I was going with this story now.
A couple of years left to work is where we started.
Yeah, I want to sell things and stuff like that, but I don't remember exactly what I was going on. Chemo brain.
That's all right.
Chemo brain.
That's all right, man.
But a couple of years left. If I can sell it, I like it. People's asked me to get back in politics. I really don't want to. It's ugly. In today's times, I don't want to get into it.
Yeah.
But everything I did 20, 30 years ago, hey, circle. Hey, Bob was right, Oh, but, I did take very good percentage in Iron County. In Houghton County, I lost by the same percentage because that gentleman that beat me won by 85% in Houghton County. But then we became friends, and he's actually got a declaration when I was you might even have been there. When I was a Iron County Chamber Director, the governor, the state rep, Scott Diana, who beat me, he signed it, and Tom Casperin, where they declared Buckskin Bob a promoter of Iron County, and if I like it and promote it, I can sell it. And I'm going to be a salesperson doing something.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to be. And I've never really invented anything that I could go promote it and sell it myself.
Blues Fest. You did well with the Blues Fest for
I did.
a long time, man. That was a cool event. You really built a cool thing there. No chance of that coming back.
They're talking about it now because they got a little committee going on. It takes more than one person to promote something. And Michigan laws suck for this. Wisconsin, I can make it happen in Wisconsin because you really need at least a beer and wine tent, minimum. And in Michigan, you cannot get a beer license very easily, so you go to a nonprofit. And they're the ones allowed to make the money off the beer. And probably 80% of an event, at least in UP, is off of beer sales. In Wisconsin, too. Beer sales is big event. Mm-hmm. I mean, what event in Wisconsin you've been to with no beer? Mm-hmm. None.
So the promoter or the creator only gets ticket sales and
that's it. Maybe sponsorships
and
but
things you sell.
But nothing off the alcohol.
Food, maybe. Food.
But
that's probably a whole other can of worms.
It is another
right?
can of worms, too, because how much liability you went in that. Mm-hmm. Which I made it happen. And one year, I think we lost money, but most of the years in 2019, it was really good. I had 5
The
bands.
last one?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was happening.
It was growing every year.
Yeah. Still got a picture of you eating the blueberry pie eating contest.
Yeah.
I usually put that on your Facebook page at your birthday in August.
Yeah. I lost that. I can't remember who
to a
beat me,
little
but
kid, I think, a little
did
girl.
Well, she could eat good pie. She could eat
some
good
of them.
pie. What are you going to say?
Yeah, exactly. I can't eat fast anymore, but I can eat hot and spicy, and I can eat different things, but not fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had the vendors. I charged. We had a lot of vendors there that year. All the food people ran out of food. Mm-hmm. So beer people almost ran out of beer.
So and then COVID came and then you couldn't
COVID
host
killed it
a
for
few
2 years, a year and a half, but 250 people. Why host a party?
And then you just decided.
Then I had cancer.
Oh, right. So I suppose, yeah.
So this year would have been my first full year that I could possibly do it. Well, 10-year-old, 92-year-old, working 2 jobs at the radio station.
So are you teasing right now an August Blues Fest right now coming up next summer?
There's a chance of it, but the July 4th committee, they've got a nice committee. They came up with a committee this year, and they had a lot of workers there. Biggest July 4th in Iron County ever. They had 10 food vendors, 20 craft vendors. I was made myself. My grandson was the grand marshal, not just the parade marshal. I was the grand marshal.
Nice.
I did the speech at the village hall that day at the flag raising, and I used to be a fireman there. I was an Alpha fireman for 17 years. School bus driver there, gun shop. People know me. Alpha Blues Fest, and I was a guest speaker there, which I was pretty honored with that. I didn't have to work it. I sat, drank Bloody Marys in the morning. They brought a Bloody Mary.
And then gave the speech at noon?
I gave a speech. Bloody Mary's at 9, speech was at 10. Don't quote me on it, but I had at least one in me.
Back to back.
Yeah, back to back. But so that with that committee, and then with the Sons of Legend, who's been in more than half of the Blues Fest with Jay Davis, he was originally from there. He wants to bring it back as well. So I've got maybe a committee, musician who knows how to wrangle stuff too, and he's been a big volunteer fireman there in Alpha as well. So because I can't do it by myself anymore. I mean, I got people to work, but I had to be the supervisor. Mm-hmm. I need supervisors underneath me to handle the, you get colonel, then you got your majors, then you got the infantry, little soldiers. I used to be everything, so.
Yeah, that was pretty much a one-man deal.
Yeah, it was.
You
it was
put
tough.
that on. It was a lot for that event. But like you said, you would get good turnouts there.
I sang in every one.
Yeah.
That was part of it. Why did that band let you sing? Oh, because I'm paying them.
Yeah.
I did as a joke. But
pay for the mic time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that was always fun, though. And I always did karaoke. Really right now my voice sounds halfway decent. I think it sounds deep enough. Just don't, with the liquid, my Wisconsin water, it's keeping me okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. You said you don't make saliva anymore, so you just got to constantly just be drinking a little something to
all the time.
Okay.
And then I produce mucus too because of no saliva, your body. So the first couple of months out of treatment, I sat in my chair or bed with a little Tupperware so I could just drool into it, and it was not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody's different. And they said, well, these chances, everything was going to happen. I hit the lottery. I hit every one.
Well, I mean, you grew a second gallbladder.
Yeah, put that one out there. But even my thyroid this year,
Yeah. That had to be difficult for you for a while, man. I mean, you're as extrovert as extroverts get. Like, you thrive off of people energy. That had to be tough for you for a while, kind of being holed up.
A couple months, I was 2 months in the hospital, then probably 2 months at home.
Yeah.
And then it started to get back out, and I lost so much energy. I mean, muscle mass.
Yeah. Social media was probably helpful. That probably kept you connected to people.
Yeah, to a lot of people, yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you like your alone time, but, I mean, you're extrovert, man. The people energize you.
Oh,
So
it does. It does.
Yeah.
And I used to fall asleep at 4 o'clock, and now I can stay up till 8, 9 o'clock unless I purposely go out and do something, that I make sure.
Sure.
Yeah, I regulate my time because I can wear myself out a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get back in the ring fighting again.
That's another spot where we were always fire and ice, man. I'm a 9 o'clock to bed guy.
I was out till when we worked together. I was out probably till 11 o'clock, and we both got in there at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and no big deal, And you're in bed early.
Yeah.
I'm still doing stuff, Yeah. And my wife, I'm 57 right now, and so I've been out for almost 2 years. From the cancer treatment, and I said, well, maybe it's time for it to slow down. She goes, you need to slow down like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Because where did I get that energy from? I mean, you seen me. I mean, I was always a pistol.
Yeah.
So, but it just, everybody's different. And,
yeah, man.
And our old boss always hated me in the studio because he said, Bob, get out and sell. Because if I like it, I can sell it. And go in there. I go into a business I've never been into before. The round Iron County, Florence County, Forest County, Dickinson County area, and they're listening to telephone time. I've already got them in my pocket, So, do you miss radio?
That's a good question, man.
I mean, you're doing the podcast now, and
yeah,
and you like the people, and you're in charge.
I miss the conversations. I miss the conversations more than anything. And the podcast, that's so. When I was thinking of the idea for the podcast, a lot of the conversations would ring through my mind because that was by far the coolest part about that job. The different people that I got to talk with and like get to know on a deep level, like on air and off the air. Like I can't count how many people I talked with.
With Michigan Outdoors, which is Wisconsin and Michigan Outdoors, you and Randy. Randy brought in people like biologists from Lower Michigan and Lower
awesome.
Wisconsin. And one played a joke on you. Said, hey, I'm coming up. I'm going to go fishing. And you said, hey, it's my wedding weekend. Yeah. That was great. We played a couple good jokes on you.
Yeah.
Well, he goes, I guess I have to take Buckskin Bob instead.
Yeah. He was such a jokester.
I forgot who that was, but Randy set that one up. Yeah. Randy from Wilderness Outfitters. That was a great show. Yeah. But you got to meet dozens of people.
That was so that's what I missed. That's what I still miss is the conversations. But that's not radio. That's such a unique thing. That thing lives and breathes by itself.
Telephone time's been on almost 59 years.
Yeah.
3 hours a day, 6 days a week, and you get characters and they die off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Julius passed away this year. Remember Julius? Yeah. Always selling the safes.
I've thought about him. Man. Yeah.
There's some other ones, and I've cut people off. I cut 2 people off this year. We call it the Bubbles list. You remember her? Oh, yeah. She's a card in herself. I mean, I love her to a point, but when she gets that way, and you actually blocked her for a couple of times. And there's other ones you had to block because it just took up too much radio time and it was negative. Well, somebody was being negative again. I pulled my car over, dialed them on my carpet. I finally went digital on my car now. My other car had it too, but now Michigan you can't talk and drive. So I get in the studio and they put me right in. Hey, Buckskin Boss. They call me Buckskin Boss now. He goes, what? I said, put that guy on the Bubbles list. And people all over said, what? What is that? Well, you get out of hand. I let people go for a long time. That's where I'm not a mean person. And you would get, and the people before you too were even meaner than you. Or not, you were never mean, but sometimes when you're in a public figure,
There were certain things that couldn't be said.
Yeah.
Across the airwaves to kids listening.
Yeah, we had anybody from kids to
Yeah.
99. There's a lot of 99-year-olds listening.
Yeah.
Out there,
And it's it's a different environment. There's a different level of responsibility with that because the public tuned into a radio station.
Public radio.
And you don't
FCC
know who's
license.
listening. FCC license. Someone clicks the button. They choose to listen. They're the master of their environment. They choose to listen, and that's a different level of responsibility. Yeah. That's you try to entertain them, but if it's something that they don't want to hear, if there's kids in the room or something, like they're listening to it. On the radio, businesses are playing it. Like there's just certain things that just couldn't be said,
we call it buy, sell, trade, community events. And I'm big into community events,
Mm-hmm.
I would have done if I was a millionaire, I would have done the chamber job for free. I love promoting that stuff. I brought in flea markets and garage sales. I mean, citywide garage sales, the places never had it. The Blues Fest was one. Who knows what I did back then when I was a self-promoter. Mm-hmm. I just love promoting, and I still promote. And I don't make any money off of the nonprofits. Very minimal. What are you paying for newspaper ad? Well, I pay so much. Well, that's what we want too. Mm-hmm. So I made that kind of a rule, but I still love promoting. But you and I worked together before I worked with you. I came in every Friday morning, 9:15. We never talked, and you didn't know what things I had. And then we just played off each other. You and I could have went national.
It was entertaining.
It was very entertaining.
People loved it.
I mean, I'd come in the fall, like this time of year or early winter, with the survival skills. What you have in your car. Remember that? And I would demonstrate, and people would understand. Over radio.
Yeah.
What kind of tools I had and stuff. And then I brought in mushrooms, and then I talked bear hunting, ice fishing. Who knows what I couldn't talk about? There's one job I wouldn't do. I would not ride a live bull. I would not become a professional bull rider. I've done the fake ones. So.
Yeah, that'd be a tough gig.
I got a friend that did it, and he broke his leg. Put it this way, I've been in the ring with the wild bulls before. But like a rodeo clown.
Would you do the thing where they draw the circle in the middle and then they put a bunch of chairs in there?
That's called bull poker. 10 years ago, but yeah.
I wouldn't do it.
Because they put you in a bulletproof vest. Now, no, I couldn't even get in a martial art fight because my bones are so brittle and stuff like that. I couldn't even get in a fight.
A bulletproof vest. They give it. That doesn't protect your neck.
No. But you ever see them? They wear the thick vests.
Yeah.
That most of the bull riders now, and bull riders now wear a helmet now, two-a-days.
They can. I really doubt. Yeah, the bull riders do. I really doubt they still do that. Like they used to do those crowd engagement things where they would put members of the crowd in that circle.
And you just have to sign a waiver.
And you're the last. I guess. Yeah, you sign a waiver. But that's my John Hancock's not going on that line.
Yeah. 10 years ago, I definitely would have done it. I mean, I've wrestled alligators, killed one with a pocket knife. I got a 9-footer, 260 pounds. The mount's at my office. Got pictures to prove it. Put my wife on top of it with the mouth opened, because she was smaller than I am. She's a good-sized gal, but she's still smaller than I was. I mean, it weighed the same as I did. But I got to, I trapped it, caught it, killed it with my bare hands and a pocket knife, a Kershaw pocket knife. When I seen with your thing with Ed the Diver, and you guys were talking the sturgeon, and I sturgeon fish too. And I got two of them this year. I got a 26-incher.
Oh, did you really?
26-incher and a 36-incher in the Menominee River, which you can fish with either Wisconsin or Michigan license. You're only allowed one sturgeon a year. It's got to be 60 inches. So as big as Little Ricky. Little Ricky's my measuring tape. Yeah. Remember Little Ricky?
Yeah.
He's still going strong.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I don't fish with them as often because I got a real job. Damn it, I got a real job. When I had all those part-time jobs, we go hunting, fishing, and, excuse me, it's not COVID, just cancer. I had to do that, I mean, sometimes I get in a coffin jag.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, it's not COVID. It's just cancer.
Just immediate.
I mean, I forgot to tell you this. February 28th, I was in Rockford, Illinois, coming back from Chicago, Zion, staying at my buddy Pete's house, and they had traveling stand-up comedy shows. I came off of the stage, off the floor. I won second place.
Doing stand-up?
Yeah, never done stand-up before. Other than maybe with you. I mean, what I've done is that kind of stand-up, I guess, in a different way.
Kind of. The closest thing you do to stand-up is, I mean, you're a very good storyteller. And that's, being good at stand-up is a lot of telling stories, you know?
And certain people take off with that storytelling,
Yeah.
too, or
So
feed off the audience.
So what was your bit? What did you talk about?
I talked about my cancer treatment, and I had an underdog shirt on, too, which I have the underdog tattoo, and how that came about.
Out of how many people? How many people were in the contest?
I think 5. But I mean, they were already signed up. And I hear the first guy, I'm going, yeah.
And were they like actual like aspiring comedians?
Yeah, and they do a tour. And I took second place. And if you took first, and at the end of the year, you get to compete with everybody else. I just came out of nowhere.
And you just went up there and just talked?
Yeah. You're supposed to do 5 minutes. They cut me off after 15. I talked for 15 minutes, and it was getting kind of dry.
15 minutes, long ways, with no prep at all.
But I can, you know.
Hey, you got second.
Yeah.
They must have just counted the first 5.
You know. Oh, and then, it's also called, I'm mistaken, you do 5 minutes, and I got cut off at 10. And then they do the wheel of death. They have a thing. They have a little like a little wheel, and they get ideas from audiences, and they're pinned up there.
And then you got to like improv on it?
Improv on it, yeah. And I do 5 minutes of that. So I did actually.
Do you remember what your wheel landed on? What was
It
your
landed
topic?
on a guy in the audience. I roasted the hell out of him.